All right, so now we're going to go over how to properly use and execute exercises on this Cybex VR1 dual trunk flexion and extension. You can take any of the things we go over here for the flexion direction for the abdominals and apply them to the VR3, the red padded version of this. That one only goes forward, obviously. You won't be able to apply anything about extension. But for the flexion, we want to make sure we're set up with the foot plate and the input arm on this one in the right starting place. And then in terms of getting you set up on the machine, want to make sure we have good, firm heel contact onto this bar, maybe just the other side of your heel, like right where it turns into your arch. We just don't want the balls of the feet or the toes to be pushing. So getting good, firm heel contact, the purpose of which is to keep your sacrum shoved back into this pad. We don't want to be sitting in front of it. Shoved back into the pad, at which point we get the arms out straight here. And then what we want to make sure of is that we're set up in such a way that these shoulders are kind of fixed onto my rib cage so that we're not using the shoulders to push the bar forwards when we move forwards. Keeping them locked into whatever place they're going to be. Then we're getting up nice and tall and engaging, initiating through our abdominals like someone's going to come in and punch you. Keeping that nice and tight, and my intention is to move my chest forwards, which happens to be attached to my arms, which happens to be attached to the bar, which happens to be attached to weight. But we're not just moving the bar back and forth. We're moving our chest as though this is literally attached to your chest and you're trying to push it forward with your chest. It's obviously attached to your hands, but that's what you're vividly imagining as we're set up, push back here, and we're pulling the chest forward. Just making sure that we're not getting to the end of where our chest goes and then using some shoulders or losing the tallness of our spine. So we're up nice and tall, chest up, engaged through here. Intention is to move my chest forward, focusing on contracting my abs the whole way, not letting the shoulders move off of my rib cage. Tempo's nice and slow. Pull into the parking space, pull out of it, keeping the tension in your abs. Initiate forward with the abdominals, not losing the arch of your back. What will often happen over a number of reps is you'll start to lose the tallness here. So every once in a while when you get back to the beginning, you can reset yourself up tall and just make sure you're not losing any of that. It's pretty common to lose some of it as you go. So every 1 or 2 reps, you can be like, oop, I can get a little more up again. Engage the abdominals, pull yourself forward again. The range of motion on this is not super huge. Depending on the person, it can be a little bit bigger or smaller. But often we'll think we're getting more range of motion because we're losing the arch of our back, because we're coming away from the pad back here, or because we're pushing the bar with our shoulders. So making sure none of those things are happening. Up nice and tall, press back into the pad, chest stays up like you're aiming halfway up the wall with your chest, driving forwards, keeping that tension in your abdominals, pull into the parking space, pull out of the parking space, keeping that contraction on the way back. Initiate the movement, which is really difficult from that spot back there with your abdominals, making sure we're not losing the tallness. Pull out of that parking space, pull in, pull out, and pull in back here. Nice and smooth, like so. So that's what we do for the direction of flexion. Now we're going to go over how to do extension on this machine. Obviously you can also go forwards, but when we're doing extension, we got our foot plate set in the right spot. We'll set this down to either position 1, 2, or 3, depending on what I've told you based on your arm length and all that kind of stuff. Then we're starting off a little bit not arched here. We're not all the way slouched down or anything, but we're also not all the way arched at the beginning, because the point of this is to increase the arch of your spine as you travel backwards. Notice I'm not pulling the bar back by bending my elbows, not even slightly. I'm losing a little bit of my arch on the way forward. I'm engaging the erector spinae, all of these muscles that run up and down either side of your spine, as I try to get my chest up high. And I like to use the maybe not appropriate idea of trying to scrape my nipples on the ceiling. Up nice and tall, and then you lose a little bit on the way down. You're getting nice firm push through here to keep you pushed back into the pad, and then arching up and over the top of that until you feel like you can't go any further without doing this or without kind of just falling backwards. Just getting nice and tall, chest up, and then collapsing a little bit on the way forwards, and then arching up nice and tall. Good, same red light, green light tempo. Arching your back, not bending. That's what I most commonly see on this one. So sometimes it helps to get your hands up a little bit higher on the handles as opposed to down lower. Will give you a little bit more room to arch versus if I'm down here, I feel like I can't arch quite as much. So up right here, drive through the feet, chest up, arching your back, nipples to the ceiling, and then slouching a little bit on the way forward.